Welcome back here, and today we'll be making a special pizza and a surprise to top it for our New Year's celebration. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to start by getting our warm water heated for our yeast. I'm using the stove behind me, and you want this to be 2.5 cups of some warm water. So by now it should be warm enough to be pouring in. I'm going to go to 2.5 cups. Perfect amount. And the water shouldn't be so boiling hot that your finger gets like, ouch. It should be just the perfect temperature. If you made it a little too hot, give it a few minutes to rest and then you're good. While this kind of rests, we will be getting our yeast, which is cooling down and it's cool enough. We have our 2 teaspoons of yeast and 1 teaspoon of dried cane oat sugar. Now we're going to be adding in our sugar. Let me go get a spoon for that. And my measuring spoon. Sugar kind of gives some nice feeding food for the yeast. You may, and then we're going to be adding our yeast to the mixture. You want to give it a stir, like I'm doing, and the yeast is going to be alive right now at this step. So what you can do is just give it more of a stir, and then you want to see bubbles. If you don't see bubbles in your yeast, toss it out and start out with some fresh yeast again. What I like to do is put this to the side in the area I know that gets good light. So right here I have a light fixture, I'm going to put it under. And now we're going to start with making our dough. Like you see, this is a perfect example of our yeast. So our dough, we'll be getting, I know it seems like a lot, but we have 7 whole cups of all-purpose flour unbleached. That may be a lot, but it's going to be all worth it because then you have 4 individual slices of big pizza, and then you'll love them. So if it sounds like a lot, it'll be better in the long run. Then we're going to get our olive oil. So here we have our olive oil, 6 tablespoons to hydrate the flour. You want to take your flour and just kind of make a nice well in the center, where we can add our olive oil to hydrate it. Add our 6 tablespoons of olive oil. And we have our yeast here that has shown bubbles, that has bloomed. Our room temperature water with the yeast and sugar mixture added. We're gonna add this to the flour. Okay, we're back. So our yeast has bubbled. What we're going to do now is we're going to pour it into our flour mixture, and then now with the spoon we're going to kind of well incorporate all the mixture till you have a nice even that's starting to form of dough. So see, I'm just kind of well incorporate the flour to the yeast, and you want to see these nice crumbly types of flour pieces, because that's when you know that the yeast is starting to get incorporated with all of our ingredients here. And well, honestly, pizza isn't that hard. It's just, I think, the mental thought of what you have it in. Like, I thought it was really hard, but after making it, honestly, it's hard. With soap I did. I swiped it with soap. So right now we're going to just add some flour to our countertop so it doesn't stick, or you can always use a cutting board, up to you. And you would want some excess flour lying around, so I just like to have this measuring cup there if I need it. And we're going to bring it all on out. want to knead, then you would see some more progress. Like here we have more progress. If your dough is really dry, you might not want to add a lot of flour. You can add some water to kind of make sure everything comes together. Which I'll do right now. Filtered water works fine. And again, I was saying kneading is key. I think a lot of people under-knead their doughs, and that's why it doesn't come out right. So if you have to just set a timer for about like 5 minutes, and then by then, just like that. So it's starting to come together better.
Can I try kneading it?
So now we have our pizza dough. It's nice in our ball shape, and it's very nice and shiny. It's coming together a lot, and we're just going to flour our surface a little. And we're just going to poke it to make sure when you poke it, that means the yeast is active working, and we know it's ready. So what you're going to do is just do a little more of that kneading thing I showed you, and go to the very bottom, fold it in to make a nice little ball. You want to take one side, bring it in, the other side, bring it in, the other side, bring it in, and the last side, bring it in. Then you want to take your pinkies, if you must, flip it over, and kind of with your pinkies, just keep rotating it to form a little nice ball. At the very bottom, you're going to rotate. It helps a lot, and you have to wait all this while, but we won't keep you bored all this while. We have some stuff planned. So you're going to take a bowl. I'll be right back. So all sides have some olive oil. And now what we're going to do here is add our pizza dough. I'm just going to kind of put some olive oil on the pizza dough itself and on the sides so it won't stick. We tried with Kling. Kling works the best. A towel, it kind of ends up sticking, so we say Kling is the best option to work. So we're going to take some Kling and wrap it. See you right there. Hello everyone, welcome back. So we're continuing on to the pizza. Here we have back here our pizza dough. We let it rise for overnight. Not completely 24 hours, but has been overnight. So that gave it time for the yeast to bloom and make it into the dough, which is great. So now opening it, see it has risen right here, and it's good to oil the surface because then it doesn't stick and it grows out nicely. If you were to do for the full 24 hours, you would most likely see some yeast bubbles kind of overlaying on the cellophane, but because it's not the 24 hours yet, you don't have that, which I think in a sense is nice because that's when the dough kind of dries out, if that makes sense. So now we need to bring this dough back to life. I'm going to get our flour back here. There's some extra flour like we discussed. And here we have our dough. I'm just going to plop it on out. Oh, that feels really nice. Onto our countertop. And here we go. Kind of bring it back to life. I'm kind of going to sprinkle some flour. All-purpose flour works. I say when you make the dough, have some extra left out. And then that way, when it's this time, it's easy. So I'm just going to do that kneading thing, if you will. Just knead how we said. And don't add too much flour onto the surface because your dough will get dried out. Just kind of knead it back and forth. So much flour, but that is totally fine. You just add some water and it'll bring it back to life. So I'm doing this kneading thing, just pushing in, pushing the other way. So you want to put all your force one way to one of your dominant sides, and then your other to your other side, until you have your dough come nicely to one of your dominant sides, and then your other to your other side, until you have your dough come nicely together in a dough ball. Okay, just going to continue to knead this dough. I'm going to add a little flour. You can flour your hands if you wish. Just going to continue kneading. Okie doke. I'm going to do that shaping thing, if you will. Kind of bring each side in. And then flop it over so you have a nice dough ball. And put your pinkies inwards and kind of toss it. Arms together in a nice ball. Now is where it's done again. What I got out now is a bench scraper. If you don't have a bench scraper, you can always use your knife, up to you. But you're basically going to cut it into fours. Because this dough is a lot. You're going to have a lot of pizza. Or you can, and then you can freeze some, you can use it, do whatever you want with it, but what you're not using, be sure to freeze it. So I'm just going to cut it in half. In equal halves. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Just like that, you know the yeast has developed. And I'll cut it into fourths. If you think this would be a lot, you can do eighths and then freeze the rest. Just depends on you. But I'm going to be doing two different types of pizzas. One savory, one sweet. And we'll be taking two. Then these make hefty amount of pizzas. The other ones you can freeze, do whatever you want with them. But I have my two here. I have my excess on this side. And also, I'm going to cut one of them in half, and this can go in the freezer, because this one will be for tonight. So we'll be having mini pizzas, because we'll be making one savory tonight, and one sweet tonight, and then tomorrow, New Year's, when we'll have one whole pizza, but for tonight we have this. So what I'm going to kind of do is I'm kind of going to knead it a little more, if you will. You can flour your surface, just to kind of bring this one back. I'm going to set that out to the side and do the same with this one. Kind of do that shaping thing again. These are nice little dough balls. Just to make it in a nice form. Okay, and do the same shaping thing with this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You want to take your pinkies and just push inwards and turn. Inwards and turn. Now, you kind of have to wait, but we'll be doing something while that wow waits. You're going to be covering these both with a towel. I say just put some flour on it. And this is going to kind of allow for that yeast to bloom. It's a lot of waiting. So we're going to take a towel, we're going to cover these two, and then see that. Here I am with the towel. I'm just going to put them both under the same. And it's going to allow it to bloom, like I said. We have our excess that can go in the freezer, whatever you want with them, you can give them to someone. And we will now action! Here we are back. Now, so we have our dough resting for that 1 hour. You could quickly set a nice timer for yourself. I will do that. But, so we're going to put this aside. We're just going to move it on over. Where we have our remaining doughs. Sorry, okay. We have our remaining doughs here. And, because obviously one person can't eat all of them, unless you want a giant mass pizza. So I'm going to kind of knead them for a second or two, and then And they're kind of nicely kneaded into nice cute little balls. If you want, you can do the shaping thing I was showing earlier. Just like that. This is where you are gonna can freeze them, which is what I'm personally gonna do because tomorrow is New Year's. And if I didn't already say, and we're gonna be having pizza for tomorrow. Tonight we'll also have some pizza, but we're doing a special pizza tomorrow. You could put gelatin on them. I'm gonna throw them into the bag. And if they stick, then you'll do that same thing, but just know that there's 3 pieces in here. There's no issue, but.
That's it for today's video. I thank you so much for watching. This was just a pizza dough recipe, so this is a little extra chocolate pizza we made for New Year's Eve night, and it was just delicious. So you see here, we did this, popped in the oven, and it was, again, just amazing. So I hope you did enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and this is recorded later. I am so sorry that I haven't been posting. We're just working on a couple of big things, as you're going to start to see. I really hope you enjoy. Thank you for supporting me throughout this process.